Hello there, folks. Hey, this is Joe Azu here. Hey, in this video today, we're going to talk about how to make some animation so you can make some movement of a manufacturing line or something. In this case, I'm going to pretend I'm making beer, filling beer bottles. And so here I've got a display of beer bottles going across, and I can change the speed of this and so forth. And so I want to show you how to make this happen. And to do this, we're going to use a couple of internal things in Redline. So really, if you want to follow along, do me a favor and open up Crimson 3.2 and start out with a Go7 database. And let's build this together, and then you can play with this in the emulator. So I'm going to go over here to Crimson 3.2, and this is the program we're running with right now. But I want to make some tags to play with some things here. So let me collapse that, close your eyes. Let's go over here to the left side, and there are three tags, or three functions, I should say, that we're going to use to make this happen. One of them is called DispCount, and let's see if I got my PDF working here. The DispCount is a function that returns a number indicating the number of display updates since last reset. Generally speaking, the display page on any Redline product usually updates every 100 milliseconds, so 10 times a second, this number here should count by 10. That's the first thing. Then we're also going to use a function called GetUpDownData that'll count up or down to a limit. We're going to play with that in a little bit. And then we're also going to use the function called GetUpDownStep that will be positive when it's counting up and will be negative when it's counting down. We're going to use that in this procedure as well. So first I want to show you how these things work. So do me a favor, on your Crimson, go over to the left side, go to data tags on the left side. And I've got a folder of tags already doing the mimic, so don't worry about that. But I'm going to click on the word data tags here on top. I'm going to click the new button, and I'm going to rename this new tag. I'm going to call it DispCount, DispCount, okay? And I'm going to make that equal to the internal function so you can see it on the web page. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you go to the lower right-hand corner and click on System in the lower right-hand corner, then I believe, team, if you expand the first tree, the functions, or the variables tree, the variables tree, you can see there's a function called DispCount. Now, normally, you can right-click on this and do Show Help Info, and it'll open up the PDF. And I don't have it installed right now, so I can do that. But anyway, I'm going to drag this DispCount, and I'm going to drag and drop it right here on the word internal. Boom. That's going to make this tag, which ironically I call DispCount, equal to this. I want you to see what that does, so that's going to be important. Let me go over to the right side or left side again, click the new button again, and let's call this one, rename this one, call it GetUpDownData. Okay, GetUpDownData, and according to the PDF, GetUpDownData is going to be this data. It's going to have something here, and the thing I also like about Redline documents is they always give you a little example. So you can see here an example of how it's used. Let me go back to our thing. So this function is going to be on the right-hand side. I'll collapse the variables tree. I'm going to expand the functions tree. And I think, team, if I go down to the tag data category, expand the tag data, here's that function called GetUpDownData. Now watch what I do. I'm going to drag this right here, boom, on the word internal. That's going to put it there. But notice that you've got a 0, 0 inside the parentheses. Well, according to the example, I want to use the DispCount here in this parentheses. So you got two things you can do, team. You can either hit the edit button here to the right, which depending on your laptop, should open up a pop-up window. There it comes. And some Windows versions will make this really small. I'm going to show you how to fix that. But if you can see it like I have here, watch what I do. I'm going to delete the first 0. I'm going to go over to the right side, go to data tags on the right side, and I'm going to grab the DispCount and drag and drop it right after the open parentheses. Now, you got to pay attention to the black line. That's where you want to drop it. You want to drop where the black line is. Let me do it again here. So there's the black drop right there. That's what I want. I'm going to leave the 0 for now because we're going to come back to that. So I'll click the OK button. If, team, you had a problem where you hit the edit button and this came up really small. I see this a lot in my classes I teach where a certain version of Windows, this becomes really small and you can't see this. There'll be like a blinking small icon if it's real small. And I don't know how to fix it Windows. You can call Microsoft. I'm sure they'll address it. But anyway, if that's the case, you can do this, team. You can hit the general pull down and you can click on complex, which opens up this nice big window here. And again, you can do the same thing. Just drag DispCount from the right side into here like this, and then click OK. All right. We'll come back to that guy. Let's go over here to the right again. Let's go, or I'm sorry, the left side again. Go ahead and click New on the left side. And let's call this tag Get Up. Oops, I hit the enter button by accident. Get Up, Down, Step is the next one I want to use. And that is going to be this function, Get Up, Down, Step. Again, notice the same example here, and you'll see it's got a 100, which is the limit. We're going to fix that here in a second. But if I go back to Crimson, I'm going to go to the lower right-hand corner and click System on the lower right-hand corner. I still have the tag data tree open, which I hope you do. If not, go ahead and reopen it. Grab the function called GetUpDownData and drag and drop it right here, boom, into the source. Again, see how that's got that like that with that there. I need to change that. So either I can click the edit button and opens up here, or you can hit the general pull down here and do complex. Now I'm going to once again delete the 0 from there, go over to the right side, go to data tags on the right side, and I'm going to grab DispCount and drag and drop it right here into that box, and then click OK. All right, both the up-down data and the step has a 0 for the limit. Here's what I want you to do. On the left side, go ahead and create another tag and rename this. We call it limit, for instance. Okay, and we're going to use the limit here in our program, and so I don't want to have to re-enter it all the time. I'm going to make that tag retentive. Set that tag up as retentive. Okay, all right, now let's go fix a few things. Let's click on the GetUpDownData on the left. This was the one I did as complex code. I'm going to hit the edit button here. I need to change the 0 here to be the limit tag. So I'll put my cursor here. I'll delete that. Go over to the right side, grab the limit tag, and again, I want to drop it right here after that comma, but before the parentheses. And then I might do this, since I did this the long way, complex code. I'm going to type get up, down, oops, data here. I'll do that. Then when I hit enter, it shows like that. All right. Now, get up, down, step. Do the same thing. Click on that guy. If you had to do that through complex, you can hit this pull down and do complex, or if you did it that way. But I'm going to do this one this way. I'll click the edit button here. I'm going to delete this 0. I'll grab limit from the right, and I'll drag it right in here like this. And then I'll click the OK button right there. Okay, so we've got this set up now. I want to test it. It's a good time for you to save your program. So if you haven't saved it, go ahead and save it. Call it animation or beer animation. That's what I called this one. And then if I go to display pages, I'm going to move up my page 1 on top so we can kind of play with this as the palette. I want to see what these tags do. So I'm going to go over here to the right side, click on DispCount, hold down the Shift button, click on Limit, and I'll drag all these out here like this, and I'll go ahead and make them be a little bigger like that. Now I want to make the limit one be data entry. That's the one I have to change. You need to change. The rest of them are yellow, which means they're formula tags. They're going to be running some logic, which is what they're doing. So I'm going to double click on the limit one. And I'm going to go first to the edge tab, and I'll change the border to have 1 or 2 pixels red. And then if I go to the data tab, down here for operation, hit the pull down here and choose data entry. And that turns on the data entry side. And then I'll click OK. And if you want to make the font bigger, you can click anywhere else, then click one time on it, and then boom, 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 boom. So that makes the font bigger. And I'll do the same thing to all these others. I'll highlight them like this. I'll right click and I'll say copy from, and I'll just choose text format. Boom, and that does that. I didn't want to put a border around those, so that's what I'm doing. All right, I'm going to save this. I'm going to go ahead and download this to my emulator. Remember, this button right here is the emulator button. So if you have it clicked where it's off, now it'll try to download to real screen. If you click on this, it'll download to the emulator. You can also do the link pull down and go to options, and you can check the send emulator here too as well. All right, once that's done, I'll go ahead and download it. If this is the first time you run the emulator, you might have to install the PCAP software. Go ahead and do that. That's okay. I've already ran it. So you can see right now, everything's 0. If I put a limit in here, say I put a limit in here of 30, notice what happens. This starts to count up, and then it counts back down. So it oscillates. Let me make this a little bigger. That way you guys can see a little more swing. So now I'm going to go between 0 and 100. Remember I said that DispCount updates 10 times a second. So this, in theory, should take about 10 seconds to count all the way up and 10 seconds to count all the way down. Notice the step. When I'm going down in numbers, it's negative. When I'm going positive in numbers, it's 1. If I change this to 0, does it do anything? And if I'm not changing at all, it goes to 0. That's pretty sweet, I think, anyway. All right, now that we play with that, let me go back to Crimson. I'll leave the emulator running. My goal is to make some beer bottles move on the screen here, okay? So do me a favor, team. Go over to the right side of Crimson and click Symbols on the right side. And I think I found the beer bottle in the food category, maybe. Let me look here. Go into the category called Food. And in Food, if you slide down a little bit, let's see, where did I see it here the other day? Almost to the bottom. What is it? I don't know, 5 or 6 rows from the bottom. The right-hand column, there's a beer bottle. If you click on that bottle one time, you'll get a bunch of pre-built different colored versions. I don't care which one you grab one of them, drag it on here like this. And do me a favor, make that guy be a little smaller. You don't need to have such a big beer bottle on our screen. Like that. All right, so we want this thing to move across the page like so. So what I'm going to do here is when I click on it, I'm going to go to the behavior pull down up here on top. Go to the behavior pull down, and you want to choose add 2D movement. Click on add 2D movement. Now once you do that, notice how the red box around it becomes huge. Well, do me a favor, since we're going to move this left and right horizontally, I'm going to squeeze the top and bottom down like so and make it like that. And then I'm going to make it maybe a little wider. Maybe I'll do something about there. Okay. But remember, my goal is I want this to move in here. Now, you might be wondering, what do you mean by you want it to move? Well, right now I'm holding the whole thing. If I click on the beer bottle in here, look, I can move that back and forth. So I want this thing to automatically move back and forth within that space. So I might make this just a little bit smaller for giggles. Okay, once you got it like this, we need to link this to maybe our GetUpDownData. So I'm going to right click on this thing, go to Properties. I'm going to click on the Movement tab. And on the Movement tab, I want this thing to move horizontally with the GetUpDownData. So I'm just going to go over to the right side and grab the GetUpDownData and drag and drop, boom, right there like that. Notice that the limit's 0 is the minimum. The maximum should be the limit. So I'll drag the limit like that. There you go. And I'll click OK. All right. Let's go ahead and save this and let's see what happens. So let me go ahead and save it, download it to my emulator. So if you look, I currently have my limit set to 100. And you can see it count up. I can make this, let me make this a little smaller so you guys can. There we go. Hold on. Wait. All right, now watch. You can see it's counting up to 50. Watch what happens when it hits 50. This goes negative and now it's adding down. But I really want this thing to keep going that way again. Once it's 50, I want it to roll over. So watch this. What do you notice happens when this goes to -1? Well, this counts down. So somehow we want it to count up again. Well, we could really take the limit minus this number as it counts down, and that's going to be counting up. It's going to sound weird, but watch this. So I'm going to go back to Crimson. Let's go over here to Data Tags on the left. I'm going to create another tag. I'll click on my limit one. I'll right-click and do New. or you can click the button here, it don't matter, but do a numeric tag. I'm just going to call this one tag 1. Okay? And tag 1, I want it to do this math when I'm counting down. And where I'm going to do the math in this case is I'll go over here to, I mean, there's many places you can do this, but I'm going to go to display pages on the left. I'm going to click on the word pages on top here, pages on top. I got something here from before, so let's see what I show it here. Yeah. Okay, so this is from before. Let me do this, team. I'll have you, go ahead and create the pull down here and do complex. And then I'm going to leave this. Close your eyes and pretend you don't see this stuff on top because this is from the other. Just ignore that part. Your cursor's sitting here. Don't worry about this. But you're going to type if, open parentheses. So we want to ask, I'm going to go over here to the right. We want to ask if the up-down step is -1, means I'm counting down. So I'm going to grab this tag, drag it here, space, equal, 2 equal signs, asked the question, and then a space, -1, close parentheses. So if that condition is correct, I'll hit enter, tab across, do the open squiggly brackets, the shift right above enter there is open squiggly. I'll hit enter. And now I'm going to say my tag 1 at this point is going to be equal to the limit tag space minus the up-down data, which is going down. And then I'll put a semicolon into that, enter, close squiggly brackets, and that's it. So this is the part you should be. Don't worry about the part here. All right, I'm going to click the OK button. If we did everything correctly, let's go back to our page 1. Oh, notice, team, I didn't say this, but on the pages, I did that logic in the on tick field. I'm sorry, the on update field, which is basically once every update, which is once every 100 milliseconds, which is what DispCount is showing. So that's perfect frequency for this. Anyway, now if I go to page 2 again here, let's do this. Let's drag tag 1 out here like this. And I'm going to place tag 1 here next to the GetUpDownData. I might copy all formatting from this guy, because I need you to see what happens. What I think should happen is this is going to count up and down to the limit. And when the limit's reached, this is going to start counting up to the limit again. So let's go see what happens. I'll save it, download it. Let's see what happens here, team. So look, it's going to 50, 50. Let's see what happens when this thing gets to 50 here. Watch this guy. This guy starts to count up. Perfect. And then when this guy gets down to 50, this one takes over. Oh, this is exactly what I want. All right, so now back here at Crimson here, I got this one. I only want this one to show up when the GetUpDown is 1. That means it's going this way, okay? So I'm going to right-click on this thing, go to Properties, and this all looks good here. What if I go to the Locking tab? You see right where it says Visible? The only time I want this one to show up is when the GetUpDownStep equals +1. So I'm going to see, can I ask the question here? I'm going to hit the edit button here. Brings up my little editor. And I'll drag this out here like this. And I'm going to space 2 equal signs and a 1. So if that equation is true, boom, hit enter. This should show up. I like that so far. Let me make a copy of this thing. Let me make a copy. Right click on this and do copy. And then paste. I'll leave the pasted version right here. Let me go ahead and double click on the pasted version. We go to the movement tab. This one, instead of this thing, I want it to get its value from tag 1 right there. Okay. I think that's going to be doing that. And then the only time I want this to show up is when GetUpDown equals -1, because that's the opposite. So I'm going to change this to a -1. Hit enter so it sticks. Hit OK. Let's go ahead and save this, and let's just see what happens here with these two before I do my idea here. Give me a second. So you can see it counting up to 50. Let's see what it does here. Boom. Once it gets to 50, the other guy takes over. What happens when it rolls over again? Perfect. Okay, now watch this trick. I'm going to go back to Crimson. I'm going to take this dude, the lower one, and I want to put it exactly on top of this one. So I'm going to right-click on my lower beer bottle, and I'm going to go to Align Centered On. Notice I got trailing X is asking me, who do you want to center on? I'll hover over this thing, boom. That is perfectly placed on there. So let's see what happens now if I get continuous flow. Let's just check it out. Let's save it. So there it goes there. Picks up again. Okay, perfect. I got that working. That's exactly what I want so far. I don't know if you noticed this, but right now I'm counting to 50. So if I change the rate to say 30, you'll see it should go faster. What if I go down to 20, for instance? Even faster yet. If I go to 15. Perfect. Okay. I'll go back to my 25 here. All right, now let's go a step further, and let's say that I want to have multiples of these running across the screen here. So I'm going to take my mouse, and I'm going to go ahead and lasso or highlight or encapsulate both of those beers. That's the one in back and the one in front. You can also see down here that Crimson says 2 items have been selected. So with both items selected, I'm going to right click and I'm going to do a group. Where'd my group go? Right here. Right click group, and then I'll right click and do a copy, and then I'll paste. And of course it puts it there. And then I'll paste again here. All right, so let's do this. Let me move this guy over here. And put this guy right where it was. Something like that. And then I'll click this one. I guess, if I just started down here. Hold on, let me try something real quick. I just got a dumb idea. Hold on. It could be dumb. I don't know if it's going to work. Give me a second. Let me try my copy thing. I'm going to put them all down here at the bottom. I'm going to right click and do copy. Paste. Aha, that's what I wanted to do. And paste again. Okay, they all fit. I cheated by moving them down below, and then they fit in there. Okay, all right. So I'm going to leave this alone. Let me save this. Let's take a look and see what happens here. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, let me go back to Crimson. So now I got all 3 of those here working. I'm going to take my magic mouse, and I'm going to attempt to lasso all 3 of these, like so. Because once I lasso them, I'll right click and I'll group them all together. So now I got my grouping. And now if you want to make your display work, if you go to your right side, go to symbols on the right side. And I think if you go up a directory in your food category, there's all kinds of things in here. What I did on mine is I slid down, I don't know, a couple clicks on the left down to say a filling station. There's a bunch of different pictures, but I'll grab one of these. If you click on them one time, you get a bunch of pictures of them, and then you can grab one. But I'll drag one out here like this, and I'm going to go ahead and make this guy be a little bigger like that. Might move my limit over here a little bit. And then I want to move this behind everything, so I'm going to right-click anywhere on this thing and go to Arrange and say Move to Back. That puts it back there. And then I want to put maybe a conveyor on here. So if you go to the right side, go to the home directory of your primitives, and I think in category conveyors, let's see, where was it at here? No, it might have been, is it belt? No, must be conveyors simple. Oh yeah. So in the conveyors, there's all kinds of options here. Oh, which one did I use another one? Interesting. I guess I should have wrote that down. Well, but anyway, if you want to put a conveyor in, you're welcome to, but I'm going to leave it like this. The only other catch here that I found is that I want to cover up where do these things start and begin. So if you're over here and you're in the food category or whatever, I'm just going to cheat. What was I using before? I had one of these in here, something else. One of these. That's a closer thing. I don't know what that did. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these anytime. If I find something I like. I don't know what that is. Click on one, you get a bunch of pre-built colors. Then go ahead and grab one of them, and you're going to drag it out here like so. You try to put it right where that thing covers up the beginning. The problem is going to be this end one is somewhere over here. So I'll grab another one of these. You can pick something different, but like this. All right, let's go ahead and save this and download it. Let's see what happens here. Ah, look at that. Perfect. It's coming from there. Continuous flow. My emulator is going to shut off. I think I hear it beeping. Yep. Let me restart. Remember, the emulator runs for 15 minutes and then it starts up. So the cool thing here is I can change my limit to be faster, like 10. I don't know how fast I can go. Let me go down to say 5. Let's see here. Because eventually, with our update being every 100 milliseconds, it still looks like it's moving, but it kind of looks like it's, I'd rather a little slower, but oh well. But of course, you can say here, well, the lines are on a fast production versus normally it might be slower like this. So anyway, I just thought I'd make a quick video on how to make some animation. The key thing here is the DispCount, GetUpDownData, and GetUpDownStep. And remember, I set all 3 of those up over here, and then of course a tag called limit that let us do our math on these, which is pretty cool. If you want to copy the database, feel free to, I wait, one more question. Oops, not that one. Hold on, let me go back to my emulator. Close your eyes, you don't have to see that. So on my emulator here, what could I do to put this to stop it? Well, if you put 0 in as the limit, that shuts it off. Yeah, that makes it disappear. Of course, any number in here. And then if you wanted the thing to actually stop where it was or something, is this? I didn't make any of these changeable. Yeah, that just makes it disappear. Oh, you know why it disappears? Because both of those are, well, I'll show you. The reason it disappeared right there, team, is because both of these graphics, all of these graphics, remember the show part here I did? Is either this or that. So once it goes to 0 is what it does. Here, we should do this. Let me fix up real quick here. Let me go over here to my symbols. I'm in my food category. Let me go down here and grab another beer bottle. I'll grab a yellow one out here like this. I'm going to make right click, do same size as this guy right here. And I might just leave it right here. And the only time I want this to show up is when, I'm going to place this guy right here for now, is when the get up down is 0. Yeah, or the step is 0. That's right. So if I right click on this, go to properties, the only time I want that to show up is when get up down step equals 0. So I'll drag this here. I'll put my cursor in and I'll do a space. Boom, boom, space, 0, enter. -1 meant it was counting down. +1 meant it was counting up. 0 means not doing anything. So once I get that there, I'll copy this guy and I'll paste it and I'll paste it over here, just so they're somewhat the same. All right, let's try this again. Save, download to my emulator. So there it is sitting there. And if I put a limit in of something, now it starts to move right away. And of course, if I put this at 0, it stops right where it is. I like that. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I'm sure there's another way you can make it where it stops right where it is, but I'd play with that a little more. Just thought I'd make a quick video on that animation thing. Thanks a lot, folks. If you want to copy this database, don't be afraid to send me a note. I will certainly send it. It's called Beer Animation 240625. See you later. Have a great day.